I see Rashad make a lot of hating comments when he's on the show. So
come on, I hear you, dog.
You know,
Get
you
to the
can't
point,
never worry about what somebody has to say because that's going to be part of it. And obviously, you guys have a show to do, and there's an entertainment aspect to it. But you just got to allow yourself to continue to put yourself in position to where the next opportunity is given. And Bronny's foundation of who he is as a human being is going to continue to allow that.
Rich Paul talks about Bronny James' development. Check out what he had to say, and then I'll come back with my comments.
Do you think Bronny will win over his haters with the way that he's been playing?
I think, you know, not to more so make it about Bronny, I just think about when you talk about development, right? And when you talk about opportunity, the problem we got, I see Rashad make a lot of hating comments when he's on the show, but the problem that we got is most people don't understand, and this equates to the people out there in your life as well.
Here we go.
When you get your opportunity, in most cases, you're underdeveloped, right?
I hear what you're trying to say, Rich Paul. But let's talk about Rashad McCants, because I seen some clips from this interview, and I noticed he wasn't there when you were sitting down. So that just lets me know, okay, I ain't going to sit down if Rashad is there. So if you're Gil, I know you rock with Rashad. I know y'all have y'all back and forth for the internet, for content. But you should have stood on business like, nah, Rashad need to be here as well. Like, you going to have to confront him. If you want smoke, give him all the smoke. You know, just keep it cordial. Y'all can have a back and forth, but people may not like Rashad's opinions, but those are his opinions. And I don't think people have a personal thing against Bronny. It's just how he came into the NBA. And then you're going to critique him. So that just means we're not allowed to critique Bronny James just because we're going to be labeled haters and get blackballed by Rich Paul, Clutch Sports, and LeBron James. So gotta look in the mirror, Rich Paul. Stand up to Rashad McCants if you got an issue with him. You can't be like, I don't want him on this platform while I'm there. So I just had to throw those 2 cents in. But let's see what Rich Paul got to say about Bronny James' development.
Think about it. When you get your opportunity, in most cases, you're underdeveloped. In the NBA, the issue is those opportunities don't come around multiple of times. So when you see a young man leaving college to go and play in the league, what he's betting is, I'm going to be ready when I get my opportunity, right? And in most cases, that's not the case. Now, then you talk about, well, I'm comparing a name of somebody to somebody who has been proven consistently for several years. And when you equate that with just the human psychology of, I'm doing bad, so I want you to do bad too. You put all that into the middle of the table and you get that negative, right? But now put your own children in that position, right? Take sports out of it. The opportunities in life don't come to you often. You have to be ready.
Again, I hear what you're saying, Rich Paul. You know, having a chance to get an opportunity to show your value and what you can bring, but we got to keep it a sports just because, okay, Bronny needed a job at a local store or whatever behind the scenes, and, you know, LeBron threw him an alley-oop. You know what I mean? Go ahead, hire my son at Nike, working at one of the executive offices. Okay, I understand that. But when you're talking about the level of competition and everything surrounding sports, when you got sports betting, when you got potential referees that are making specific calls, that all goes down to, okay, if you're not good enough to be on that court, but you got people that can, you know, put you in these positions to make a team and manipulate the draft possibly. That's the real issue with Bronny. Bronny seemed like a cool kid, good young man, you know. He don't really say too much. He just trying to ball out and show that he belongs on the NBA floor. And, you know, maybe he can in the near future. He's doing a lot better in the G League, but just this whole thing where, okay, you're a hater because you're critiquing Bronny, or he has an opportunity that a lot of people don't have. Cool. But again, it ain't hating if we critiquing this game. If people want to call him trash, so what? But it's going to be labeled as hate because you're saying it about, you know, LeBron James, the quote-unquote GOAT, arguably a top 2 or the greatest player of all time. You can't critique Bronny James if you're in the media, especially mainstream media.
Most people can't say when a conversation came my way, I was actually ready to do things because I take myself, for example. There was no opportunity for me. It was told to me there was no opportunity. My readiness came from the way I was able to think at that moment. So in that exact moment, you know what I said? I don't need a title. I don't need a position. I don't need a high salary. I'm gonna make something for myself, right? But
Good for
most
you,
people
bro.
would have been like, nah, I'm good, or I'm getting it already. I don't need that. You get what I'm saying? And
What
so
about Bronny though?
I put it, we represent a lot of guys in the league, whether they've been in the league 6-7 years or whether they've been in the league 6-7 months. It always goes back to, are you prepared when your opportunity arises? And it may just come from a situation.
Okay, let's stop it there. He's getting somewhere. Let's bring it back to Bronny. I know he's trying to, talk all over the place. Sounds like a politician. Get to the point, man. Respect. You built up the Clutch Sports platform. LeBron, he threw your alley-oop. His name was attached to it, and, you ran away with it in a good way. So salute to Rich Paul. No hate towards you or Bronny, but just as far as, are you ready for that opportunity once you get it? Is Bronny James ready for the opportunity of being an NBA player after he got that alley-oop from LeBron James and Clutch Sports? Right now, he's not ready. So that's why people have, an issue the way that Bronny James got into the NBA. No one says that he's banned from playing basketball. He should never be an NBA player. But when you're talking about sports, that's something you really got to earn. This ain't no 9 to 5, like, okay, somebody putting a good word for you and then you get the job. Cool. I've been there, so I can't say that people didn't help me out getting jobs or just opportunities. That's cool. But with the level of competition in sports and everything surrounding it, it's a multi-billion-dollar business. So you don't just want anybody on the court because it's just going to make the game look a certain way. That's what the real issue is. But right now, Bronny James isn't ready for the opportunity he was given, but maybe he'll get there. Again, he's playing much better in the G League. Got no issues with him. I'm rooting for him. I'm rooting for everybody that's trying to either get into the NBA, currently in the NBA, trying to stay in the NBA. I hope everybody can have a long career, make your money, and, feed your family, but it's levels to it.
As simple as jogging to the scorer's table to go into the game. Not walking, like jogging, because I want to get in. Or
I don't know what he's talking
a
about.
chase and run through. It don't have to be you scoring 30 points in the game. Just understanding that there's no garbage time in the NBA will get you your next opportunity. It ain't about, because for me, I recruit guys all the time. Most guys that score 30 in college, they don't really do anything in the NBA.
I might have to skip some of this.
It's
you
opposite,
gotta get to the
right?
point, bro.
It's flipped. So
Come on, I hear you, dog.
you
Get to
you
the
can't
point, my
never
brother.
worry about what somebody has to say, because that's going to be part of it. And obviously, you guys have a show to do, and there's an entertainment aspect to it. But you just got to allow yourself to continue to put yourself in position to where the next opportunity is given. And Bronny's foundation of who he is as a human being is going to continue to allow that.
I understand NBA minutes are NBA minutes, but he needs the reps, right?
In the G League, absolutely.
He needs more reps. So my thing is,
Yeah.
so we talked about it the other day, and I was like, let him play his uninterrupted G League minutes, and then when their season is over,
Yeah.
bring him up, right? Let him go on the road, let him get his bumps out, let him just play through mistakes. This is a plan for him, because we did the same thing with KJ. KJ went down there was a plan for you to let him get that, because his freshman year was interrupted at SC. It was interrupted because of health reasons, this, that, and the third. Trying to get your feet wet within the season, it's tough for a coach to implement
For any
freshmen,
time.
for one.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So he's
Real talk, my
behind
brother.
the 8 ball, so to speak, but he's in a good position now that you guys have put him in with the G League thing, just letting him play 40 minutes a night.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get these minutes, you're going to get these shots, let him do that, because it'll benefit him in the long run. We ain't saying he's going to be his daddy, no, but this time is crucial for him, because he's still fragile in basketball, period. He's still fragile.
Yeah.
So, and I told Josiah, they always, every time he plays, every time he does something, everybody
Look at my
is quick
stats right
to
now.
Bronny. I told him, no, we're not going to be a part of that.
Yeah. But
We're going to let him be the 55th
Yeah.
pick, right?
Right, but that
That's
comes,
cool.
we can't have it both ways, that comes.
I understand what Kenyon's saying. He's been consistent with that. If Bronny James is only going to play a certain amount of G League games and then only play the garbage minutes of the NBA. Me personally, I don't mind him playing those minutes, but you can tell he's not even ready to play in those garbage minutes. He needs a lot of reps, so maybe the G League, he needs to max that out. So when he has opportunities to play in the G League All-Star game or a Team G League and he turns it down, if I'm Bronny, I need to be playing as much as possible. Test your skills out that you're slowly acquiring as far as trying to be an NBA player. Would have been a perfect time to go against the top G Leaguers and really see how far you came. So I hear what Kenyon's saying. Max out, get as much G League minutes as you can, and then move up to the Lakers. So he has a guaranteed contract. There is a plan in place, so it ain't just like no regular G Leaguer that has a two-way contract. There really isn't no plan as far as him being on an NBA team. Maybe something can come about for those other players, but if you're Bronny, everything's cool. Everything's gravy. You know that you got at least 3 to 4 years in the NBA, maybe more depending on if LeBron James has the power once he retires, and then we'll see what happens with Rich Paul and Clutch Sports. Maybe he can leverage Bronny even more to maybe carve out a 5 or 6 or 7 year career. Who knows? But Bronny's going to have to be able to play on the NBA floor. He's going to have to try to shake off those nerves. Everyone has those natural nerves, but you can tell Bronny is day and night when he's on the NBA floor, garbage minutes or, regular minutes when it's a tie game or, within a second or third quarter. We seen what happened in Philly. JJ Redick caught a lot of backlash, but I was cool with JJ Redick throwing him in there. He was playing good up to that point in the G League. All right, go ahead, get some run. Let's see what you got. And it didn't work out. But again, everyone seems like the villain or the bad guy. If you put Bronny in a position to play, you trash JJ Redick. If you don't play Bronny, or if he's playing 50-50 in the G League, you may look a certain way as well. So you can't really win when it comes to Bronny, LeBron, and Rich Paul and Clutch Sports. You're always going to look like the bad guy.
The territory
as
well.
But
that's part of it.
As us, though, we going to let him be that.
Well, you guys are experienced. You're talking about 3 guys that played in the league at a high level and produced in the league at a high level. But I feel you, because your son is not who you were as a basketball player.
Yeah, because my son is 52nd pick.
And I watched you on the show just say you want him to have the opportunity. And I think it's for all. But one thing I think people get misconstrued about the G League, the original name of it was the D League.
D League, yes.
Which was simply for development.
Supposed to be.
Right. But the G League today.
That's what they told y'all.
Yeah.
That's what they told us.
The G League for today has a much better development criteria to it. And if you look at the draft, we've had pretty much everybody from the 3rd pick in the draft all the way to the last pick in the draft have some time in the G League. Teams are getting, and I represent DeJounte Murray, played a full season in the G League and was the starting point guard in the Western Conference Finals against the Warriors, right? That development. Corey Joseph playing the G League, right? Justin Edwards just got converted and a contract, but he played in the G League. I embrace the G League. Well, I tell teams all the time, yes, my guy will go to the G League. I want him to go to the G League, but paid as an NBA player, because there's a difference.
Of course. Yeah, you want to make sure he get that money, that contract, because the more money he gets, the more money you get. It's just business. Nothing wrong with that. But just as far as the D League and the G League, it's supposed to be a developmental league, which is true. You've heard a couple players that had some success. Even as a Heat fan, the Duncan Robinsons, the Hassan Whitesides, just to name a few players, and then the DeJounte Murrays and a couple other players that played in the G League. But you got to understand their level of talent was much greater than Bronny James. So, of course, they can ball out in the G League. Teams already had their eye on them, but they just opted out just to play in the G League if they didn't want to go to college or however it worked out. So, of course, if you had those type of players, they're most likely going to go to the NBA. But for the most part, being in the G League is tough unless you have a structure. Going back to the Miami Heat with the Sioux Falls affiliate, they have a structure. They're looking at that G League team. A lot of teams, they just have players there. Unless multiple players are injured on their active roster, that's when you may have an opportunity. But the G League is tough. But again, if you're Bronny James and those other players, to where either your father's LeBron James or you have representation of Clutch Sports, or you're going there having a lot of talent, you may have an opportunity to win being a G Leaguer, but it don't work out for a lot of people like that.
But them going to the G League it's what y'all have as a foundation, as a company, and the work that they didn't put in pre-draft and other things, that when they get to the G League, they have a foundation, because them people not down there developing them kids and getting them ready for the NBA.
Well, it also matters what team you're on
Absolutely.
going into the G League, because obviously
What I said
think
earlier, Miami
all
Heat,
teams
two
aren't
falls.
created equal.
Yeah.
Right? We understand that. I think I've said this before.
Yeah.
The teams that I've been extreme supporters of, just because I think it gives you a little more years. You
Absolutely.
know, some teams is like going to Granny's house. You know, Granny's house, you're gonna get that development, chores, discipline. You know, you can't sleep till 2 o'clock, and not at Granny's house. You got to get up at 9. So it gives you those life, you know, characteristics that you need to
be a pro.
Yeah, to be a pro and to be an adult, right? So I think that's important. But you know, again.
But at the end of the day, you know, Rich Paul, he going to be an agent. He's not really going to go too much in detail about Bronny's game. It was good that he had a couple good weeks in the G League, increased his points per game average by a few points, put up a couple 20-plus points. I think he even had a 30-plus point game or multiple. So shout out to Bronny. Ain't nobody trying to trash him. No one's trying to hate Bronny. But just as far as how he got into the NBA, people being in denial, you can't criticize Bronny because you're going to look like a villain. You're going to look like the bad guy. Now, of course, you know, people may overdo it. I have my troll moments as well, so I'm not exempt from that. It is what it is. It's all content. But for the most part, Bronny, he's playing solid in the G League, but right now he's not an NBA player. Will he ever be an NBA player? It's 50-50. It's looking a lot better than it did in the summertime and then in the preseason. But again, when Bronny's on that NBA floor, even in garbage minutes, he looks scared out there. So that's letting me know, okay, maybe he needs some more NBA minutes. Because when JJ Redick threw him in the Sixers game, he caught backlash. I thought he was going to get fired just because of the media backlash he faced after that game. He got questioned. So maybe the Lakers organization isn't the best fit for Bronny just because of the expectations, and then playing with your father on the other side of that bench. It's just too much for Bronny. He tries to handle it good, but he's real nervous inside, more nervous than your average player. So I think Bronny, if he has an opportunity, see if he can get away from LA. See if there's other teams out there. I said this on previous videos. See if you can go to the Washington Wizards. They're trying to collect draft picks for the next 10 or 20 years, so Bronny can play a lot of minutes. Garbage minutes, full games, 30 minutes, 40 minutes here and there. He needs that. I would look for teams like that, to where, like the Utah Jazz, a couple other teams as well. Where can I go so I can play NBA minutes? I'm not trying to be the greatest player in NBA history. I'm not trying to win championships. You know, trying to make a few dollars, and most importantly, be able to play meaningful games, even on a bad team. Showcase my skills. So I think that's what Bronny James needs to do. But, you know, when you got LeBron James, the puppet master, Rich Paul, he got to abide by LeBron James rules, especially when it comes to his son Bronny. So it is what it is. And then, you know, JJ Redick, he's in a situation to where he really doesn't want to play Bronny at all. But again, the LeBron James influence, the Rich Paul and Clutch Sports influence, they can sway players from going to different teams. So again, you know, JJ Redick, he's caught in the middle, and it is what it is. But shout out to Bronny. Keep playing great in the G League, and we'll see if he ever becomes an NBA ready player.